Welcome to Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. I'm so glad you're with us, wherever you are. If you're at goodlifetelevision.org or if you're watching us here locally in Santa Barbara, California on TV Santa Barbara, we welcome you. We're so glad you're here. You can also find us at all the social media platforms. We hope you'll follow us there. And a lot of you are from about 32 countries now have found us at our podcast, which is Good Life Conversations. All of these interviews that are videos, obviously, are transformed into podcast episodes. And so you can find them if you're working out and you want to listen to them. You can find them at Good Life Conversations on Spotify and everywhere else where podcasts can be found. So Good Life Conversations. And of course, all the interviews are at goodlifetelevision.org. And in addition to what we call power clips, we kind of break them up, those full shows, into some of the great moments from those shows. You know, Good Life is about the good stuff. You know, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of tough stuff. There's a lot of suffering, and we're not immune from that, and we don't disregard it. We live in it, and we know that life can be hard, and at the same time, we get to choose what we dwell on. And so here at Good Life, we're dwelling on the good stuff, the things that are noble and praiseworthy, and the people that are doing wonderful things. And we have one of those people with us today. So I'm so excited to welcome the CEO of the Pablov Foundation, Kerstin Lynam, is with me. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much.
It's great to have you. We've had a previous show with a family, and we'll talk about what Pablov does, but we've had a family that's been blessed by the work of Pablov in a previous Good Life show, and so we know all about you, and we're so excited to have you here. First, start by kind of your background, kind of where you grew up, and you've done a lot. I know you graduated from the University of New Mexico, I think it was, and then you went on to do postgraduate work at University of Colorado, Denver, where you had a summa cum laude. I can't even spell that. My wife was magna cum laude, I don't think, but I'm not in that realm. But talk about your background and kind of where you came from.
As you begin to listen to me, you will notice my German accent.
Yes.
So I am German. I came over as a young woman. I came for adventure, found love, been married to the same man for 32 years now.
Wow, good for you.
And I am a true nonprofit professional. It's what I love. I like working and increasing value, and that is what I'm very proud to do at the Pablov Foundation as well.
And so when you were coming through university and in your postgraduate work, did you know that nonprofit was the area you wanted to be in?
So I knew I didn't want to go into for-profit consumerism. That was very clear to me, and education or research was kind of where I was leaning toward, and now I'm in an organization that does both, so perfect. Took me a few years, but I'm here now.
Well, that's great. And 32 years of marriage is a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. We like each other still. And that's all good.
Apparently, yeah. And I think it's going to work.
Hi, Eric.
Eric is his name.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, in terms of your career, where did you kind of start after your postgraduate work? What were the first projects you got involved in?
I worked for the Medical Group Management Association, which is a membership organization that is there for medical professionals. I was in their research group, and I worked with Dr. Neil Pyland on a number of different projects, a series of books, but probably the project I'm most proud of is one of the first surveys that was done in terms of adoption of electronic medical records. It was a very big deal. About 28 years ago or so. Wow. It was a very big deal. We published on that and of course talked about it a lot. It was meaningful work, and then from there I went on, did very veteran-based work, worked eventually as a CEO and president of two nonprofits geared to further the research within VAs, both in San Diego and also in Palo Alto. And they're probably my My project that I'm most keen on is I worked with Dr. Mike Oxman, who still lives in La Jolla. He did a validation project for the shingles vaccine, and I still remember him coming down to my office and saying, "Kirsten, we unblinded the data. It works!" So
Really?
it was a big deal. So whenever I'm at CVS now and I see shingle shots available here, I just smile a private
He was the
smile.
one who...
He was the PI of the nationwide study for the US, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So veterans work, medical, and then you found your way to Pablov.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so let's talk about Pablov, and I know that there's kind of two parts to your mission: improving the lives of children living with cancer through the arts specifically, and then investing in underfunded, cutting-edge research, pediatric cancer research. And I did find out in our previous interview with that family that actually pediatric cancer research can be one of the underfunded areas.
It is underfunded, so like everything in this economy is kind of guided by the almighty money. And there's just less money in doing pediatric drugs, and so from an industry sponsor perspective, there's just more money in developing adult medications. So research for pediatric patients is entirely underserved. On the other hand, whatever we get done in the pediatric markets, there will be also work that you can translate into the adult work as well. So we, of course, are absolutely focused on pediatric cancer care and finding better treatments. And somebody needs to do it. We're doing it, and we're proud of it.
Yeah, you've given a lot to that research. So those two parts. So Pablov Foundation is the organization, and the two-pronged parts to their mission again are improving the lives of children who are living with cancer through the arts, and then investing in the research. So let's talk about number one in terms of how you improve the lives of these children. Talk about kind of how you do it.
So we're calling it Fighting Childhood Cancer with Love, and we invite kids who have been diagnosed with cancer to join us for photography lessons. And people who don't know us, they ask, why photography? Well, after our namesake, Pablo, left us, his parents found a ton of pictures on mom's and dad's equipment. And so Pablo had kind of chronicled his journey, and so they were starting to think, is there something to it? And so staff began to take classes in healing arts at UCLA, and eventually the Shutterbugs program was born. And the idea is to give kids something new to learn, create diversion, and help them find their creative voice.
That's so good. So she referenced it, but just the story behind Pablov has to do with Pablo Castellaz, I think is the last name.
Yes.
His story began, this story began in 2008. Pablo was diagnosed with bilateral Wilms tumor, which is a rare form of childhood cancer. Yeah. And he passed away 6 days after his 6th birthday. And so the foundation's named in his honor. And then the photography part started. And apparently the community where Pablo lived rallied together for that family. They put together a PayPal account and presented his family with a $250,000. Isn't
that amazing?
Balance. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then the Pablov Foundation was born. So that was in 2008. So if a family's watching that knows of a child who's diagnosed with cancer or has one themselves, how do they engage with you? What do they do?
Very easy, very easy. Most of our recruitment happens through the hospitals, but you can also self-refer, and you can do that by just going on our website, pablov.org, and there's an area where you can just apply. It's a pretty quick process, and then our staff will contact the parents, and we'll do a little bit of a Q&A and then determine this is a good match, this is not a good match, and then we get going. It's very easy.
Great. So talk about the research side. So how do you guys raise your money? How are you funded? And then how do you decide where the research dollars go?
We're really funded by people. People who take an interest in us and who invest their heart into our mission. Those people, they often work with their friends and their communities to enlarge in their voice. We do a lot of peer-to-peer fundraising, a lot through bicycling. So we have Pablov across America, which is a 5-day ride. We are in different states, and most years this year we are going to ride in Colorado, and if there's avid cyclists in your audience, please check that out on the website as well. It's a ball, it's epic. We laugh, we cry, we sing, we laugh. It's everything. And it's a wonderful, wonderful vacation on a selfish side, but of course it's a giving vacation because all of our riders fundraise to support our mission. So that's where a lot of our funds come from. We do everything that other nonprofits do. We do events, we do a lot of social media outreach. Our website, of course, has a donate button that is easy to participate in. We have a kind-hearted program. So we try to offer something for very different giving styles. Monthly, right now a little bit, right now a lot. I'd rather be at an event and be asked there. We do all of that.
All the above.
Yes.
So the big event, though, it has to do with it's a bike.
It's a
5-day
cycling event.
Cycling event. And
we do one-day events as well. We are lucky enough to partner with LEL Cycling, which is a cycling clothing company out of Carlsbad in SoCal. And they help us a lot. They're very generous with us, and they picked us as their nonprofit partner. And we do one-day rides in a number of different states, of course also on our website, pablov.org, under events. The first one is going to be in San Marcos on the 31st of April.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So people can find all that information on your website.
Absolutely.
Okay, so pablov.org?
Yes.
So Pablove, pablov.org is the website. Yeah, we want to make sure we get that out. You know, this when we had the Horvaths on the program, I mean, I was just so taken by Colby. And it just this.
Who isn't?
Yeah, this kid is just something. His vocabulary itself, like I was just stunned. But you know, these kids are really the spirit that I think, and I'm guessing you have a lot of experience with this. But what have you personally learned or experienced by dealing with these families, these kids that are in the midst of really tough stuff, the horrors of cancer itself, but chemotherapy and the difficulty of it? Because just in one interview, you know, just seeing Colby and his mom, they've been through 2 years of just the grind, this tough stuff.
Oh, they've seen some dark stuff.
Dark moments, you know, but then the spirit of this kid, I mean, he's showing us his photography, and I was just like, I was so impacted.
He's unreal.
It's incredible. So how has that impacted your heart? How has that impacted your life?
So I would like to answer that kind of in a two-sided way. On one side, you see these kids who truly have a lot to worry about and a lot to be very sad about, but they still laugh, they still play, they still do what kids do, and that's just beautiful, and it's a great reminder. On the other side, we as adults observing these kids, we can actually do something to help them, which is very, very gratifying as well. Through our programs, we know that we increase their quality of life. So anecdotally, it's very easy to see. You meet Colby, I've of course met a lot of other kids just like him, and you see it in their face. But I like data, and so we started an evidence-based program, and we now know, yes, we do have true measures that quality of life is increased by participation of these kids in our program, and that to me is just such a gift that we as adults can actually do something to reach these kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And what a great idea. I mean, you know, photography in terms of capturing moments. I mean, just seeing Colby's experience with the picture he took of the tree, I think it was.
Oh, what a picture! Yeah.
What a great picture, and how it impacted him was that here's a tree that has weathered a lot.
Yes.
but is still alive and still, I thought, what a great, and those little, snapshots, literally, are all around us. And then to give these kids the opportunity, not only as a diversion and a distraction from other stuff that they might be thinking about, but just to capture things.
Yeah. So we measure their learning as well, and there is true learning happening through the classes. The things that are a little bit harder to measure are those changes in their hearts and their thinking. Mm-hmm. But we hear it in their comments a lot. We hear things like from the parents that they say, oh, all of a sudden my child wanted to go out of the house because she had homework and needed to snap some pictures. Or a mother said, like, I never say this about my kids. I don't want them to be just anything. But boy, was this neat that my child living with cancer got to be just a kid. And so it's those little nuggets that you get now and then, and you see kids in these classes. We do them by Zoom, of course, now to protect their health. When they start out, often the camera is off, and then eventually the camera goes on by the second class, and then by the third class they begin to say something, and by the end they're laughing with the other kids. And how beautiful that you can move the kid toward being a kid again.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, capturing moment. I'm the annoying dad at the baseball games with the camera. Just so you know, I've got the camera at all times.
They'll thank you later.
That's exactly right. That's what I always say. So yes, you're annoyed, but they thank me later because I've captured these moments from when they're this big. But it's interesting about life. I mean, I think remembering where we've been. Photography is actually one little way we can use to. I remember how I felt this time.
Yes.
And that might help actually my perspective. When let's say I get free. I'm like I believe what's happening with Colby, where he's going to be free of cancer, but he's got these photos and he's got this experience now that you guys have helped him document, where he's going to remember what it felt like. And that might change his perspective for the rest of his life.
Yes, I believe that is the case. And kids, they carry the program with them for years to come. There is, of course, also the sadder side to it. And yes, we do the photography with kids, but we do it in a way that respects and gives grace for where the kid is at the time. So we have teaching artists who have gone to hospitals when kids couldn't come. So that was pre-COVID, of course. And kids who are literally fighting for their life. And frankly, they don't always win.
Yeah.
And we give them something to hang on to at the moment. We give them reason to smile. And I believe that the pictures that these kids take, they are a gift to the parents and the family as well.
Right.
It's just something that's still there that you can touch. I mean, the love is always there. Love doesn't go away. Yeah. The goodness of that stays. But it's just very special how much all my colleagues go out of their way to truly teach kids. We have a lot of community partners. A-Frame is one of them. It's a company out of LA. They do makeup, hairstyle, hair design, all of that for stars. And they became aware of us, and they have done makeovers for some of our kids.
Oh, really?
And we try where we can to give these kids and their families memories that they can carry, just light that they can take with them wherever they go next.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And that's what happened with Pablov's family. You said it, but I mean, so they didn't know he was taking these pictures until he passed?
A lot of it they were unaware of, yeah.
Then they found it.
A ton, yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you have partners. So you mentioned partners a couple times. So you got the bike company, the makeover company. So if a company or a nonprofit or whatever was interested in serving these kids or families in some way, you welcome that.
We are the little engine that could, and we talk to anybody.
Anybody who wants to help.
There's not enough love in this world, and if somebody wants to add another drop or two, we're here.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem like a loving person.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Just thought I'd say that. I don't, we don't know each other that well, but here we are.
That can be changed.
Yeah, we're getting to know each other right on the camera. So what's you have a board of directors, I'm assuming,
Yes,
with the Pablov.
yes.
And so is the vision really to see how much money you can get invested in research and see how many kids
Yeah.
you can care for?
So you asked me earlier, and I didn't quite get to answering you. So we have a scientific advisory committee, and their instincts are incredible. They are a group of experts that we put together from institutes throughout the nation. They're all very special in what they can do and what they know about pediatric cancer. And they review our research applications, and they have been able to pick winners. So for every dollar that we invest, researchers find 4 more. So it's like whenever people give us money, there's an inbuilt multiplication factor, because this scientific advisory committee, they're so good.
Yeah.
They find untapped talent,
match the
and
money.
those people, those early career investigators, then they go on with results from our funded research, and they get bigger sponsors to help them. So we just do $50,000 or $100,000 seed grants, which is enough to create maybe a publication and a really strong set of pilot data. And if that pilot data is about something that bigger funders are interested in, it just gives them such a better chance to get funded by the NIH, DoD, whoever.
Yeah. Interesting. So when someone gives through you to research, it's actually being quadrupled or
Pretty much, yeah.
tripled.
It's we didn't set out to do that, but this is what happened. I guess if you're good, goodness comes more.
Good things come to you. No, I was reading about that. So the total net funding impact is like over $14 million in terms
Yes.
of not only what's been given, but what's
Yes,
been matched.
absolutely, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. We're very proud of what our early career investigators do, and we just recommitted ourselves to stick with this model that we have. We do want to support early career researchers, big ideas, high risk, high reward.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
That's so great. So we've talked a little bit about it, but in terms of how others can help, so they can go to Pablov.org, they can do the biking race, they can give on a one-time basis, they can give monthly, they can go to events. Is there anything else that I'm leaving out here?
So it all starts with a heart. We want more people who care.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who want to care, but they don't necessarily know how to care.
Yeah.
Come to our website, find something that's of interest to you, and just email us or call us. Our phone numbers are on the website. We always love talking to people, and we'll find something that fits your lifestyle, your capacity, and your desires.
Perfect. That's great. So Pablov Foundation, they're at Facebook, they're at Instagram at Pablov Foundation, they're at Twitter. We've talked about writing across America. I need the photography class if I want to be. I need some of this help. My photographer needs help.
Well, you can come to our summer camp, which we're doing with our kids, which is our intermediate class, and maybe you can become a volunteer and check out what we do.
There we go. That might be the answer. I need some help on that. Well, this is wonderful, Kirsten. It's wonderful to hear about. I don't know. I feel like it's a scripture about, when I was sick, you looked after me. I think there's a scripture about, when I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. But I also think, there's something powerful about when we pay attention to people who are sick, when we look after them in some way or bless them or help them. People don't forget that. I mean, when you're in, and I've had, we've all in life have dark moments. Not all of us deal with cancer, which can be really dark. But you never forget about the person who comes when in your darkest moment, is what I'm convinced of. You don't forget who shows, because everybody's there when you're having a big party to celebrate some victory.
Yes.
But in your darkest moment, when you're all alone in a dark house and you're facing something, you don't forget the message you get or the friend that shows up in that time.
But Dean, how noble to step up and really show up
Yeah.
in whatever way you can.
Yeah.
How noble
That's
to
right.
truly serve the underserved.
That's right. Noble's a good word.
Yeah.
That's right. Kerstin Lynam, everybody, CEO of the Pablov Foundation. I'm a fan. I'm in. I love it. I love what you guys are doing and appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.